reality facing more working Americans than ever: homelessness.
This intersection here, Memorial Drive and Candler Road, it's like you're crossing a threshold from this beautiful neighborhood, liberal arts college on that side, cafes, right. And then you cross over and it's dialysis centers, it's liquor stores, it's payday lenders. Other areas of Atlanta are booming, but this area sort of stayed stuck in this period of decline.
Brian Goldstone has devoted his book, which he calls There Is No Place for Us, to describing the challenges faced by literally millions of the working poor looking for a place to live. We're in Atlanta.
The poor are out here on these peripheral areas.
Goldstone has spent the better part of 6 years trying to understand why so many people who work full-time jobs with low wages are homeless.
The story.
Well, a lot of the reason why they're homeless is because, number one, they can't afford to save anything. And also, when it comes to renting these rental homes, nowadays they want so much money. It's almost as if you're putting a down payment on buying the house, because they want so much money to move in. So even if you can afford the rent, because a lot of these people are going to, like this place here, it looks like it's some sort of hotel stay, one of those extended stay hotel things where they charge you weekly. So even if the person can pay the rent, then they don't have the money to save for the down payment because they are living from check to check and they spend every dime of their check. Now, I think that what a lot of people need to do is stop over consuming. You need to bust out those coupons. You need to, tighten your belt. You need to cut back, because now is not the time to splurge. If you don't have it, don't spend it.
We as a nation have told ourselves that hard work is the key to success, that work is an exit from poverty, not having a home, being homeless. What these people show us is that there's something profoundly not true about that story anymore.
In the course of his reporting...
Well, also the American society is greedy. And I think that's what we as a culture, an American culture, needs to come to the realization, is that the American culture is greed. It was founded on greed. I mean, they enslaved my ancestors. Of course, my history is larger than American slavery. But, they took slaves and forced them to obviously work for free for their own greed. It had nothing to do with inferiority or this or that and all. It had to do with greed. And holding these people hostage to force them to work for free for their own greed. The American culture was founded on greed, stealing from the natives and forcing Africans to work the land so the culture can be formulated in its infancy and built, and it was built on that. The Americans are greedy. Americans are greedy. And when the American people start saying, hey, I'm not paying that, maybe these people will start to drive the prices down because people aren't paying. Unfortunately, that's when it comes to consumer products. But when it comes to things like housing, that's a different story. People have to pay what the market will bear. But then you have to understand that when people start to migrate and move around within the United States to find more affordable housing, once it catches on, then those areas that once were affordable, they become unaffordable because you have more people wanting to migrate to those areas. So this definitely is a problem.
Goldstone met Celeste, whose name he changed to preserve her privacy. Celeste has been known to work 2 and 3 jobs at a time to support her 8 children. All but one are now adults. She's inspected boxes at a warehouse, worked at a fast food restaurant, even sold plates of food from her room. She is resourceful.
I was working in a corner store from the time I was 10 years old. It always gave me like a sense of pride to do a good job at whatever I'm doing.
If she doesn't have a car, she'll walk to work. Sometimes
Money.
That's another thing, the credit system. And, you know, a lot of these rental places, they're looking at things that really is none of their business in regards to you renting and being able to afford their rental property. If you weren't able to pay a credit card 3 years ago, what business is that of yours if you're trying to rent out a rental unit? Can the person afford the rent? Do they have the down payment? Do they have a stable job? Do they pay their basic necessities, like, do they have a good rental history? Are they paying their, you know, that's another problem, the credit score issue. That is a barrier for people being able to find affordable, stable housing. But I really like this lady's attitude. You know, she obviously is a single mother with 8 children. And she's making it the best way she can. But I like the fact that she has a smile on her face. Because if you really get into the woe is me attitude, it's going to be harder for you to weather the storm and find higher ground. But let's continue.
Well, if my credit score is in a 700, then you don't want me in your property.
what totally destroyed her credit score was when an ex-boyfriend set fire to the home that she and her children were renting.
Walking into that house was like walking into a black hole. We had nothing.
What pushed her and her children into homelessness was the fact that this home was owned by a private equity firm who demanded that she pay rent for the current month's rent and an additional month as well, and she wouldn't get her security deposit back. This was to break the lease on this home that had burned down.
The sheriff put an eviction notice in the mailbox of the uninhabitable house. By the time Celeste found the notice,
The judge had handed down a default judgment, and by that point, her credit score had been destroyed.
which is what brought Celeste, what brings so many desperate people, to what's called an extended stay hotel. Celeste lived here with two of her youngest children for about 3 months. Now, what were you paying here?
$520 a week.
About $75 a day?
Yeah. And that's only if you book online now. If you don't book online, if you have to pay them cash at the window,
Yeah.
then you're paying the $80 a day.
Over the years, Celeste has lived in about half a dozen extended stays like this. Extended stay. That sounds so elegant, doesn't it?
It does.
Come to our extended stay.
Yes. And that's how they advertise it, too. It actually says, come for a night, stay for a while.
Tell me what's wrong with the slogan.
It's a trap. A lot of the places are substandard. One of the places where I stayed, there was, you know how you put the mats down in the bathtub to cover supposedly slipping or falling or anything? Well, I pulled my mat up and there was a big hole in the tub. A lot of the places have mold and mildew. They cause health problems. If you don't have them already, you will develop them.
Celeste was still living in an extended stay when things went from bad to a whole lot worse. Celeste, at one point in there,
I will have to say that these extended stays for a lot of people are a godsend. You know, I don't agree that they should neglect anything that would cause substandard conditions or anything that would be a threat to someone's health. But if you're expecting marble tile and, you know, gold and stuff like that when you're going to these extended stays for a cheap price, you're deluding yourself. But with a lot of those extended stays, you only have to pay like 1 week to move in, maybe a cleaning deposit, or 1 month to move in. A lot of people who cannot afford to rent something more or better, these extended stays really are keeping them off the street. So, you know, I'm really, really glad those extended stays are out there, because we would see a lot more homeless people on the street, a lot more people in their cars, a lot more parents having to give their children over to a family member of foster care because they are homeless. And it's really a sad situation. But I'll leave a link for this full video in the description box below. There does need to be solutions for the housing crisis in the United States. Definitely need to be more building of affordable housing, reasonably priced housing. And I would say to all those people out there who are struggling, save your money, go over your finances, see where you are overspending, splurging where you really should not be splurging. Do what you got to do. Look, this government just shut down for a while, and it's probably going to shut down again in the end of January. So people need to save their money. We can't always expect the government to come in and create subsidies and fixes, because the more subsidies you put in the market, the more they increase the product or the service. The market has to regulate itself. And if we get rid of the greed culture and attack the greed culture in this country, we'll find affordability and survivability a lot easier. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Comment below if you're so motivated to do so. This is Wonders of a Black Woman channel. Peace.